Welcome, everyone, to the Sickos Committee podcast. This is our podcast for the evening of July 25th, 2023. The heat has finally come down a little bit around here, but I'm getting sick now, which is always a good sign. With us tonight, as always, we have Commish. We have our permanent squatters, PittGirl and Beth. And we have special guest, Matt Brown from Extra Points. Matt, how are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, friends. Thanks for having me on here. This is I feel like this is my spiritual home after doing so many of these shows where I have to pretend to be a serious professional with all of these credentialed attorneys and discussing very serious legislation. But deep down, this is where I want to be. Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you. Beth, how are you?
Awaiting the results of my strep test. How are you?
Oh, God, you too. Damn it.
If you guys make me sick, I'm going to be so mad at all of you.
Same.
I don't think that's how podcasts work, but I'm not sure. I haven't been doing it long enough.
I'm just going to lick the microphone and we'll see what happens.
Oh, gross.
Oh, no.
Come on, man.
Worst
Listeners don't
ASMR
deserve that.
ever. Yeah.
Ugh.
PittGirl, how are you?
I'm good. Happy Tuesday.
Commish?
I'm good. I had to drop $400 on electrical repairs for the garage
Yeah.
because that random thunderstorm we got on Sunday, our first rain in probably like 3 months. Heavy rain, power flickered. All three of my outlets in the garage had to be replaced, and nothing like spending $400 on home repairs. And I don't know if they said this just to appease me spending $400 with them, but they were like, one of them was really loose and it could have started a house fire. So I don't know if they just say that. I don't know.
What is the next biblical plague to be visited upon Texas? Because it sounds like all of your weather right now is in all caps.
Getting frogs next.
Frogs. TCU's gonna have a great year.
TCU's having a great year, frogs. Matt, most of our folks probably know you, but just for the ones that don't, tell us what you do, what your thing is right now.
Sure. So I guess my thing is I write Extra Points, which is a newsletter that comes out 4 days a week that covers the off-the-field issues that shape college sports, which I think the natural overlap between a sickos enthusiast and like my line of work is pretty heavy because I write about college football and I write about college sports, but I'm not so much concerned about who wins a game or which recruit goes where. Like I'm personally concerned, but that's not what my business is. I write a lot about everything from federal legislation to NIL to Division II conference realignment to facilities projects at the Division III level, just really deep inside baseball, sausage making stuff, which has been really rewarding. Yeah, I was at Vox with a lot of the Shutdown Fullcast people for a long time. And then, of course, when Vox Media decided they wanted to pivot to making political content for people who have hate has no home here, but no immigrants in their neighborhood, kind of people.
Oh, yeah.
I was laid off, and I've been doing this now for about 3 years. Been part of the D1 Ticker family for the last year and a half, which is another B2B kind of publication. So I guess I would describe it as I write sports business journal for people who also listen to the Shutdown Fullcast. Like that is my sweet spot of sports business news.
I want to say that as a compliment to you, that how you cover things influences also how we cover things, because you're one of the first people that was answering the questions that we always had. I remember it was last year when we found out West Virginia had a great cricket team, and you reached out, you started looking at that, and it made us, and that was just the point where we had just done like a real full season at that point, and we started going, well, we can just reach out too. Like that's something that someone will talk to us about. We don't have to just ask questions. We can actually find these answers out.
Isn't that exciting? I mean,
yes.
It can be kind of silly, but even after I've been doing this for a long time, and many other reporters are jaded, and certainly we can think about things about this industry or about college sports that can bum us out or be cynical. But by God, I'm never bored because there's so many different rabbit holes here in college sports. It's so big and it's so provincial and it's so unique. There's always a rabbit hole to dig into, and it's one of the most professionally gratifying things that I ever get to do. Is I get to be the guy that calls the weird one-off thing that no one else would think to do, and they're like, "Well, we're kind of wondering when somebody would call." And I'm like, "Well, great." Like the West Virginia cricket, I remember this. The other school, if I remember correctly, that randomly had a great cricket program was Arkansas State.
Something like that, yeah.
And I remember calling and talking to a gentleman of Indian extraction who was a graduate student there. We were going to do a follow-up interview, and literally 20 minutes later, UCLA and USC went to the Big Ten. And I'm like, my brother, I got to call you back.
I remember that. I remember that day.
I
Yep.
gotta here, right?
I do
And
too.
so, and that's part of the challenge of like trying to set up my own editorial calendar, because probably a third of my readership are people just like you guys, where I could decide to completely go off the reservation in the news cycle and write about Division III black turf, which I imagine we'll get to here.
Oh yeah, we will.
Oh, yeah.
Real weirdo stuff, which is great. I have a third of my readers, and this is deeply funny to me, but these are people who are students whose professors assign extra points as their textbook.
Yes.
There are people that are studying sports management and they pay us. We give them a discount. We have like a classroom package around it. And it's part of their class. I'm thinking some of these schools I couldn't have gotten into. And now like they have to read what I'm like. So that's mama will be proud kind of thing, right? But that also means if I'm writing to people that are going to become future ADs or coaches or SWAs or people that work in this ecosystem, I have to talk to them a little bit about bigger stories. Then another third of the audience are people that actually work in the industry. And that includes conference commissioners, athletic directors, a lot of the faceless bureaucrats, but also other reporters, people that work for NIL collectives, people who work for some of these gigantic companies that really shape college sports that maybe fans don't think about as much. Your Learfields, your Playflies, your BSNs, the ones who make all the shoes, the ones who make all your websites. Those people read the newsletter too, and I kind of feel bad for them sometimes. Cause I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get you the EA Sports brand our sponsorship fights, but you're gonna have to sit through some weird stuff too. And it's been gratifying that people that I think wouldn't be interested in some of those things, like, oh, you're a big fancy important credential man on LinkedIn, and sometimes they'll like text me and they're like, I'm glad I read that. Like, perfect. Then I have fulfilled the one thing professionally I'm good at. I'm glad to try to thread that needle.
What are your fandoms, just so our audience knows?
I grew up in a place called Granville, Ohio, Licking County. If you folks know Denison University, Division
yeah.
III school. Yep. Yeah. I grew up down the road from Swayze Chapel next to a zebra in Granville. And I ended up going to American University for a little while, realizing that going to school surrounded by thousands of people that wanted to be on the West Wing is in fact not fun. And so I transferred, went to Ohio State where I could be around normal people. And
for some definition of normal, yes.
For some definition, it's just not right. I mean, think about this: the kind of people that would literally go to bars and like have parties around the presidential debate.
Oh yeah.
And then there's people who do this for a football game. And I recognize that I think I'm more culturally in tune with the football game people than I am the State of the Union people. So I still root for Ohio State. Like if they're playing, I would prefer them to win. I think it's funny when something good happens to them and not to Michigan. But candidly, just because you've been doing this for 12 years, like do I live and die with Ohio State football the same way that I did when this wasn't my job? Like no, I still care. It's a connection of where I grew up, but it's not the same thing. I also root for the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Brazilian men's national soccer team, despite having this gringo-ass name. My mother was born in Brazil. My sister still lives there. That's where I had dual citizenship. And like the only way that somebody who looks like me and has a name like me can like visibly connect with Brazilianness in a place where there are no Brazilians is by rooting for their soccer team. And everything else, I just root for memes and individuals that I've gotten to know, rather than anything else. I used to care a lot more about baseball, but now it just feels like work. I don't have the emotional energy to engage with stuff. When you do sports for 12 hours a day, before I hopped on with you guys, I was playing the long dark. Like I don't have patience to watch a baseball game now.
I'm a Pirates fan. I check the box score and move on.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Oh, yeah, I mean
that's all I do. Yeah, I wanted to mention. I think when we first started tweeting, I don't know if we guilted you into going to Amherst, Massachusetts to go see UConn versus UMass at McGurk Alumni Stadium, but I feel like we did.
You might have. I'll talk about this real quick. I'll be honest with you. That was legitimately one of the best sporting experiences I've had in my life. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. There were two big reasons for this, right? One, this was the first sporting event that I went to in person post-pandemic. And I know post-pandemic in air quotes here, right? But I had been cooped up in my basement for a year and a half. And being there was a reminder that, like, I actually really like being at football games. I like that energy. I like being in a new place. And what I stressed a great deal to the UMass athletic department, their comm staff, and all of their fans was, I am not going to this game to make fun of you. I am not going to this game as some post-ironic Twitter bit. I'm going to take you seriously. I know this is crappy football, but I'm going to go and I'm going to put on my tweed jacket and I'm going to dress like a sports writer and I'm going to wander up in the stands. I'm going to put a microphone in front of your face and I'm going to say, we both know this is ass, but I know it's very important to you. Tell me why. And I don't typically go to places where strangers give me hugs and say thank you for coming, but that happened at that game because there's so many UMass fans and even some UConn fans that are like, we just want someone to take us seriously. We don't care about winning the Orange Bowl. We want to come here. We want to make fun of somebody that went to the other school because they're all in our same neighborhood, and we just don't want to be a meme. And we think that's attainable. And the fact that somebody like you would come from Chicago to witness that is important to us. It was awesome. Do I remember almost anything about the game? No. I feel like UConn might have thrown for like 30 yards. It was a completely forgettable experience. But the atmosphere was great. The food, surprisingly excellent at Amherst. And I viewed that experience as kind of a North Star for the kind of coverage I want to do when I go to games. Because I don't have that New York Times money. I don't have Wordle money. I can't just fly around like Carmen Sandiego and go to every game that I want. I really have to pick my spots because it's expensive. And that was the perfect example of, I think, the kind of a very extra point story. I'm still very glad I went.
I went to UConn last year. I went to the UConn UMass game last year because my parents live in Springfield.
Oh, right on.
And it was so much fun. I would definitely recommend going to Hartford, East Hartford, wherever it is. Sometime if you get the opportunity to. The tailgate scene was much more robust than I initially expected. There was somebody there who had a UConn ambulance. They had a retired ambulance that was just UConn everywhere. Ran into so many folks who were like dual fans too. Like, I grew up an Auburn fan. My dad's a big Auburn guy. We saw a guy with an Auburn flag and my dad was immediately like, we gotta go walk over there and talk to the guy. Like,
sure.
So much fun. And that's one of the things that small schools, in addition to what you were saying about like taking UConn and UMass seriously, because even when the football is not objectively great, it still matters. Like, all football is good football, right? Small schools are fun also because a lot of people have secondary fandoms, and so it sort of turns into college football con, and that in and of itself is also super fun.
Yeah, that happens, I think, for just about every mid-major game that I go to, or an FCS game. You're going to see SEC and Big Ten and Pac-12 flags, or sometimes other random ones, right? Like if I go to a West Virginia game and I see like a Montana flag, like we're going to talk to that guy. But you're right. I will say this though. I don't know exactly what the rules are for profanity here, but I didn't know what that game was called by undergraduates, and I have a pretty laid back style guide in terms of profanity or coloring outside the lines. And then when I sat in the stands, I'm like, I can't.
We purposely avoided saying that to anger everybody in the replies. So we knew about it, and the Wikipedia article has been updated. But,
this was news to me.
I'm just saying.
We're just going to call this the UConn UMass game.
Yep.
And again,
the Battle of I-91.
Sorry.
The big Chowder Bowl, whatever you want to call it. Sure.
Well,
the battle for all the nutmeg.
There we go.
But yes, sure. Why not?
Sure.
So let's talk about a couple of the little stories that you've been covering lately. First, I say little, but because there's stuff that we found fascinating, and you made the calls and did it. Let's talk about the D3 Black Field at SUNY Morrisville.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I don't know what y'all's reaction was when you first saw it.
So okay, let me tell you my background first. I come from a band director background. I'm from Texas.
Sure.
So for me, turf is evil. Turf is a necessary evil. People burn the shit out of their feet on it. I've had kids get like burns on the bottom of their arms from like radiation heat from bad turf. I grew up marching on the old like not bladed grass turf, just like the flat carpet turf in the Alamo Dome. Tripped when I was 14 in the Alamo Dome. Fucking nightmare memory of mine. So
it'll get you cancer, dude.
Like that's the stuff that I remember. And
I grew up in my band life on AstroTurf. Like good old fashioned, it's a glorified parking lot that happens to be green.
And so when I saw that, my first reaction is, oh my God, this is like, because I also went to college in New England. So I have a little of that mindset too of like, it's not that hot. However, it's a black field.
Black field. Yeah.
Right.
So that makes me feel better because my first reaction was like, I think the first time I saw it was from a coach saying,
Yeah.
cleats are going to melt. And I looked at it like, yeah, it looks like a parking lot. I remember I showed it to my wife, who is a very useful sounding board for me, my wife Taylor, because she could not care less about sports. She's from Chicago. She went to BYU and didn't go to any BYU sporting events or anything. And so she'll notice things that I miss. And she's just like, that looks hot as shit. Like, why would anybody do this? So I made the call, right? Because like I've never seen a black football field before. I've seen lots of other different colored fields, and I think it's Central Arkansas has a purple field. Right?
The purple gray, purple gray, yeah.
Gray, right? Marietta. I grew up in Ohio. Marietta's not that far from where I grew up. Now they have a gray field. Like I've seen other things, so I figured, well, let's make the call. And they got the athletic director and their SWA senior women administrator got back to me right away. We got them on the phone 2 days later and talked through that, right? And to their credit, they that was the first. I didn't even have to bring it up. They're like, hey, you're probably asking about the heat, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that first. I was like, well, I was gonna kind of butter you up and ask about some other stuff, but if you want to lead with that, by all means.
Yeah.
And they were walking through like, listen, our average temperature in August and September is like 62 degrees. We're a Division III school. Nobody's on the field in July. Football practices before 7 a.m. Soccer practices in the evening. We actually want it to be warmer for our spring sports. If you're playing lacrosse in upstate New York in March, you might want that a little bit. And they said like it's only a 2-degree difference. And they walked me through one of the studies and they checked they did some temperature evaluations, and they have another green turf field there, so they're able to show the difference. And is it nerdy stuff? Like, yeah, but I think a good North Star is like interview the meme, like ask the question. And sometimes things really are as stupid as they look, because in college sports, sometimes people are just in charge of stuff. People do dumb things. But I understand the thought process behind it now. I don't think I would want a black field necessarily, but if I was in Connecticut or Maine, or I don't know, Watertown or some other part of upstate New York, I guess, where you need to stand out. Because I don't know, you guys probably knew this. I didn't. There's like 50 SUNYs.
Oh yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah,
there's a gajillion of these things, and like Cortland is like just down the road from this place, right? Or there's like 2 others within 40 minutes. So maybe you're gonna have to put on your P.T. Barnum act to stand out if there's another version of you 7 highway exits away. Like I get that.
I think that the one thing I found out when I was looking this up was I didn't realize that Penn State had such a robust turf measurement, turf science program, because I was getting studies from them about relative temperatures. I was like, okay, if someone has done this math already, that's good to know.
That's another fun thing about this whole week.
Yes.
As you get to know schools better, you realize that everybody has some random hyper specialized institute for something.
When I was in 3rd grade, we took a field trip to Penn State, and you would have thought they would have taken us to the Creamery, anything else. Nope. We spent 7 hours sitting at Beaver Stadium with people explaining to us their turf management system.
What a field trip.
Just 10-year-olds just staring as blankly as you could possibly imagine, like, what? It's just grass. Can we play on it? Do we get to play on the grass? No, we have to sit here and look at the grass. Okay.
This is like that Simpsons episode where you just go into the box factory again. I mean, that's horrible.
That's what it sounds like. For me growing up, it was the basket factory, because we lived down the street from the world's biggest Longaberger basket.
Also, since you brought up Marietta, Ohio, I have to say, shout out to the Guernsey Jug, the greatest restaurant in existence.
It's pretty good. I mean, southeastern Ohio is a hidden gem, as long as you don't go in January and have to try to drive through everything there. But
my family's originally from St. Mary's, West Virginia, right across the river from there. So yeah,
it's wonderful. But I mean, did the story go viral? Like oh my gosh, the Mustangs are playing on goddamn asphalt stuff? No, but did a bunch of people saw it, and I learned a lot about a lot of different things, because that's not just a turf story. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, I'm a very curious person. I don't really give a shit about different kinds of turf pellets and surface temperatures. Although I'm glad I learned a little bit about it. But it's a marketing and a branding story, and it's something that almost every Division III institution has to think about. And this idea of how can we create a very unique experience, a unique brand, and also create some kind of home field advantage in a world where none of us are ever going to get more than 500 people at an event. So if you can mess up people's depth perception a little bit, or create something that's completely different from everything else, I get it. I mean, I think maybe a good example at the Division I level is the Long Beach State Pyramid, where they play basketball. Yep. There's no building like that anywhere, and people in the Big West are like, it messes your shot, your depth perception, because the ceiling is not where it's supposed to be when you're playing somewhere else. Great, whatever helps the Dirtbags or Lakers,
the beach,
whatever. I mean, the Dirtbags baseball, but whatever helps those guys cultivate an advantage for yourself that you can't get because you can't build Beaver Stadium in suburban Los Angeles for a Big West school. So go for it. Be weird.
I got that Instagram thing. I don't know if you wanted to pull it up.
Oh,
so I found an Instagram video from some of the athletes just making fun of the meme, saying it was really hot. So it's in the show notes. I don't know if you could pull that up.
Yeah, give me 1 second. So I can pull it.
It was they were making fun of everybody saying that the turf was too hot. So there's some profanity in it, but I don't know if you can play it or not.
I can't get it to play, but I'll pull it up later on. I'll put it in here.
I have it open on my computer.
Let me see.
They're falling down and pretending to die. One of the guys is hosing down the other person.
Yes.
Yep.
It's too hot. Oh my god.
And
I think what makes this video is one of the players is wearing a tank top that says "I love hot moms." Which really just. This is the other thing that's delightful about all of this. Not to drive the conversation too far into a ditch already.
We love ditches.
Yeah, we're all talking about oops, all ditches. It's fine.
Yeah, we're talking about 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
And 20-year-olds, what's better than guys being dudes and being making these kind of this weird video content before we're trying to necessarily maybe monetize or brand everything. They're just being silly, which is something that you don't see the New York Jets doing, and that's fun. Great, I'm glad they did it.
We always get like the 2% of guys who, like, when we're going to do the dumb thing that pops into our mind, something terrible happens. But for 98% of them, it's just hysterically fun. And it's good to be able to lean into that hard and just like let kids be kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like that.
Like half of what we do is, I feel like we do on the Sickos account and the podcast and everything else, is we find, just like you do, like these little threads, and you start pulling at them. And okay, well, cool. Like, we got into the ditch we've been in for at least a week now on nuclear power at nuclear reactors in schools.
And, go Bucks, baby. Yeah.
The last time we went in deep, we found out that fucking Reed College in Oregon has a nuclear crazy ass Reed College. And I'm just like, why do they have And so I've, again, just rabbit hole after rabbit hole figuring that out. I just found out now.
I didn't they taught math there.
Not only do they have one, they've had it since the late 60s.
Seems bad.
I'm pretty sure that the only reason they teach math and chemistry there is to figure out new ways to make new drugs. But
the best acid you've ever fucking
useful.
had.
Well,
nuclear acid.
I mean, if I'm going to pay $75,000 or whatever it takes to go to Reed, I better get stoned in a completely new kind of way.
Well, I did find out that, because again, we talked about SUNY Morrisville, pulled up their Wikipedia page. They have a cannabis industry minor. So again, you pull one thing, you pull another, and all of a sudden you end up with
How long have they had that minor? Because New York literally just legalized weed.
I don't know. It's been a while, apparently. 2019.
Okay.
Maybe they grew hemp there for like rope.
They did. They have a large industrial hemp factory there, plant there. So just all sorts of things. And again, every college has their thing that they want to tell you about.
Yeah.
And the more we do this, it just like we posted the thing about the nukes, and then Michigan State was like, well, we have a giant beam thing that we can aim and blah. And then I found out today, someone's got a 40 Tesla magnet. That's our thing.
Yeah, I was like, our magnet is, we got a crazy magnet. I'm like, well,
cool. Hey, yeah.
And then, of course, then you have people shit talking about magnets, right? Magnet's not even that big.
Yeah.
New ass drum looking magnet. Like, no, which is the exact spirit of what all of college athletics is about. If we
Right.
Start,
you can have a pissing contest about literally anything.
love it.
Tell us about your other project, Matt. We've been playing AD Simulator 3000, and it's delightful.
Oh, I'm so glad you like it.
It's so good.
I mean,
I'm really proud of it. Listen, it's not Football Manager, you guys. It's not a AAA video game, but I don't know. I'm not a software developer, and what it is right now, it's only been out a week. Like I got to be honest, the response has far outstripped my modest expectations, and it's made me even more excited to continue to develop it. So for those that aren't aware, right, Athletic Director Simulator 3000 is a real ass computer game. It's not a meme. It's a real game. You can run it in your web browser. It'll run on an Apple, Mac, Linux. We pulled it up on my daughter's Raspberry Pi. It works, albeit slowly. And it's a game that allows you to basically pretend to be an athletic director. And you start as a generic low major AD, and you are given dozens of potential scenarios that are, for the most part, very realistic. And we know they're very realistic because we ran them by a bunch of ADs. And we ran them by a bunch of people. Like, this is our superpower, that I can call up a bunch of industry folks and say, like, what did you do when something like this happened? Or is this realistic, or are these answers potentially realistic? And the player has to figure out how they respond to these scenarios. They have to balance their budget, balance their Director's Cup ranking, their performance on the field, and their support, which is both campus support and fan support. If you do well, you can get promoted to a bigger, high-profile job with different problems. If you do poorly, you get fired. And one of the things that makes this game different is that there aren't right answers, which has deeply frustrated many players and some ADs and some academics. To pull back the curtain, the way that the gameplay is set up is that it's weighted probability. There are some choices that are more likely to deliver a successful response, but there's no 100% sure things or 0% things. So, which is, I think, how real life works. You can make sound policy choices as an AD and get unlucky. You can decide to hire Bobby Petrino multiple times, and you'll make some bowl games probably. Or you can have a bad policy and have positive outcomes for at least for a little while. And that's what we wanted to simulate. So the game's been out for a week. I think over 5,000 people have played it. We've had a couple. I mean, wow. I think one of this. You guys will get a kick out of this. One of the top 20 high scores right now, as best as I can tell, belongs to the athletic director at the University of Central Arkansas. But he's not the top scorer.
Oh.
And I've had a couple of ADs text me like, I got fired. And I'm like, I'm not going to. You want me to do that? So
I don't think you're going to say that, yeah.
No, my goal is actually to do a Twitch stream with an AD. I'm hoping to maybe do it with the guy that's in charge of North Alabama. We've been talking with members of his staff. Maybe we get somebody from the Big Sky. It might be a reoccurring feature, right? To sit down and play with somebody who's actually in the industry, which I think could be kind of fun. And we get to, it's been out for a week. I've already done 2 updates. I'm probably going to drop another question update later this week, or we're trying to add a couple of scenarios, both based on the news and based on our imaginations, so that way the game doesn't feel stale and you see repeats a little bit less.
It's been fun for me to try to play. I've again with the no right answers thing, and then I keep getting that CBI question. That question like, do you want to go to the CBI? And then me being the commissioner of the Sickos committee, I'm like, yes, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, we're on the CBI.
Going to the CBI. Yeah. Does that work out for me all the time? No.
Oh.
I mean, I'm really upset that, I make the money back, but I still lose in the final. Come on, Matt. You got to give me a scenario where I win the CBI.
Would you win the CBI?
I need to win the CBI, Matt. All right? I need to win it.
I think I'm looking. I don't think right now. I don't think you can. And
I was like, come on! I want to win it all.
I will say, one of our goals over the next couple of months is to make this more sophisticated and more customizable. We're limited by the fact that I have a political science degree, so I'm already cosplaying as a reporter. Right? I didn't go to J school. I didn't learn how to do any of this shit until I failed at 3 other jobs and kind of backed into it. And none of those other 3 jobs were computer programmer. And I learned a little bit of Python in part as a joke and in part to help with some data analysis. But once my bosses were like, no, we should make this a game, and we can hire some contractors, but you're going to need to know enough to be able to direct that team and to support the system yourself once it's built. So I have to get better. or enough of you guys need to buy Extra Point subscription so I can just drop a bag on somebody else to build it. But I can tell you in the near future, we are going to have some features to allow you to like name your school, name your AD, which seems like a simple thing. That will be coming soon. We want to make the game longer, so you don't have to take the promotion that's offered to you. You can play as a P5 AD for a couple more cycles, so you can try to get number one in Director's Cup. And I think eventually we're going to change some of the variables. So there might be campus support and political and like fan support as different variables, and give more opportunities for you to spend political capital in one place to potentially do well in other places. And hopefully we'll be able to kind of make this more sophisticated over the course of the fall.
The vibes of Oregon Trail meets Crusader Kings are so meets Football Manager is like so fundamentally makes me so happy. Oh my God, Matt, you're saying all the right things for me. Oh my God.
I'm glad you mentioned that, and I'll be honest about it here. Like, this is partly naked commercial self-interest, and part of it is a nod to my own limitations. So you're right. Anybody who plays this game is going to notice, and we've joked about it in public. We have made 1983's hottest computer game. It's 8-bit audio.
Oh yeah.
It's black and green graphics.
That touch right there makes it just.
Man, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks like it came off an Apple IIe, and part of that is because we recognize what is going to hit every nostalgia button of a late 30s to early 40s, either fan or college professor or administrator, aka the people that want to buy this. This is the way to do it. And also, I don't know anything about pixel art. Turns out lots of colors are hard. 2 colors I can do, right? I don't. The more having to build a GUI and make windows and shit, that's hard. But I can do this. And our developer was like, "This is not the aesthetic that people are typically looking for here." And I'm like, "Trust me on this. We want this to look like it was made in a Game Boy." And the kind of joke. I mean, I'm guessing the people on this call are listening are pretty familiar with Homestar Runner.
Yeah.
The joke that the development plan we've looked at is like, we want to slowly progress through Strong Bad's computers.
Yeah.
We're starting at the worst one here. I think maybe in a couple months we can make a Windows 3.1 game. We'll make the Lappy 486. And eventually we'll progress to like a Windows 95 game as our programming skills improve.
I have to admit, the first time I saw it, my thought was like, "Oh, get ye Flask. You can't get ye Flask."
Oh, true story. That was in the original version of the game. My boss asked me to take it out. I was like, I don't. Or I think I had like our test question was like, if you failed the default text was your head explode.
So good.
Which is like, look, my people are gonna get it, and they're like, yeah, but like we're not selling just to your people, so take this shit out. I'm like, fine.
I think my favorite question in the game that I got, which I just put it in the Sickos Committee like Patreon chat, but no context whatsoever for our listeners. The favorite question was like, it's time to select a new pouring rights partner. Who do you pick? And I was like, okay, so you have Coke, Pepsi, nobody. The money isn't big at this level, which I'm still FCS at this time, and you don't want to be tied to a restrictive contract. And then 4 was a local soda pop company. And so, I was like, okay, I don't know which one I should pick here. And then I picked the local soda pop company. It's like, well, too bad. That local soda pop is terrible. I was like, oh my God. Like, everybody hates you for this decision. I'm like, what?
That's right. Yeah, I got it pulled up here. It turns into a running joke among your fans.
Yes.
They really wanted to enjoy Dr. Pepper with their hot dog, not something called Real Dr. Thunderman. And, yeah. If you pick that choice and you roll poorly, and I'll spoil it here, that has only a 35% chance success rate.
I was like,
if you roll poorly, you lose $70,000 in 5.
I was like, oh my God, what did I do?
Well, I mean, think about it, right? Like, most of us have some kind of knockoff or regional pop, right? And if you're a Carolina person and Cheerwine, you're like, great, that stuff's delicious. But sometimes it sucks. and if you imagine like the Walmart brand or Aldi being like the head of your pouring rights company, or for all of your sporting events, I could see some people are like, this sucks, which I think is quasi realistic. I don't know of any school that partners with anybody other than Coke or Pepsi. I don't even think there's a 7-Up or a Dr. Pepper company that I'm aware of, not even Baylor.
We should reach out and find out.
Yeah, so someone's got some school in Maine's got to have Moxie as their thing. Is there a Fago school?
I want to find the A-Treat school. Where's the A-Treat school?
We need to find the last RC Cola school.
I am collecting contracts of Division II schools in Texas because I'm a sicko just like you guys. I haven't read all of them that I've gotten yet, but maybe there is like a West Texas state somewhere.
Come on, Sol Ross. Come on, Sol Ross.
Hey, what about UT RGV? Partnering with Jarritos or something.
God,
like
hey.
go right.
So
ahead.
here's that. You would think, shocking about UTRGV. Most of those dudes don't speak Spanish.
No,
like most of that athletic department came from Arkansas, and they're less Latino than I am, and I am a crappy Latino. And they need someone to put their arm around them. And this is a different show. I'm just like, maybe we should use the Mexican Coke for the games here, or at least dual broadcast and not just English. Surprisingly, not many people are hip to that.
So it's funny. That's where I'm from originally.
Oh yeah,
I'm from Edinburgh, and so I grew up around UTP, and my mom went there. And so for them to have a football team coming up, I'm if you ever see tweeting about it, that's all me because I am so excited about this thing.
It's going to be fun.
I
love the coaching hire they've made. I love some of the administrative things that they're doing. And man, they've sold like 10,000 season ticket promises already.
Yeah.
I did not appreciate how football starved that part of Texas is. Right?
Is.
I mean, like for a Brownsville game, you're going to get 20,000 people if it's a local game. For some of these here, and you have to go pretty far to get any kind of higher level college. That should be a very well supported program.
It's interesting because beyond that, you have Texas A&M Kingsville, which is D2 in Lone Star, and then past that, it's San Antonio.
Yeah.
Like growing up, that was the thing. My favorite baseball team were the Astros, 5 hours away. My favorite basketball team were the Spurs, 4 hours away. So you just end up very isolated. This could be, I'm very excited about this for the whole.
I can use it too because my wife, my in-laws are in Mission, McAllen area. Mm-hmm. So hey, you want to see the grandkids? I'm gonna go check out a UT RGV game down there this weekend. So maybe I can pull some stuff off like that.
That sounds good. When that team is ready to go, I will absolutely make a trip down there.
Yeah, don't drive it. Fly it.
Don't drive it. Fly.
Dude, don't drive it.
I'm in Chicago. That's a long drive.
Fly. Yeah. Definitely fly. Fly in the McAllen. The airport's not too bad. Laredo, don't do that.
Don't do that. So before we get on to our last little bit, a couple of news items just to talk about for a bit. First off, Biff Poggi, our boy at Charlotte, decided today that at AAC Media Days, he was going to draw the line and throw the flag down. I'll pull up the audio for that because that is funny.
Can we say he's got Biff is beefing with the media again?
Yes.
I don't know.
I was already liking this hire just for sheer whateverness, and then today when he decided that he was going to go off, it just made me so happy. Let's see here. We hear that?
Any other questions for Coach? That's it. 3 questions. Maybe that's because you have us ranked last. That's all what you think of us. So we get that message. Thank you.
Go off, King.
Especially you're coming in. You are head coach at Charlotte. This is your first collegiate head coach thing. You want to play the disrespect card? Do it this way. Perfect. Wonderful. No.
Biff is just going to be doing things.
I
think, and just doing a lot all the time. And I mean, I haven't thought deeply about Charlotte football if I'm not on the phone with their athletic director. I think the entire time they've been FBS. And if you need to hire a walking meme to do it, who also happens to be like Scrooge McDuck at the same time, great. Like, oh no, it doesn't work out. No, bad things happen to the great Sterling 49er program. Like, who cares? I'm looking forward to this attitude. Especially after they get smacked by 35 points by UTSA in the beginning, and then he has to talk about it. It'll be fun.
We also need to get him a Charlotte tie because I still think he's wearing Michigan gear.
It was green when I looked at it. It was
okay.
Golden, and I don't know if maybe he just tinted the former Navy part of the tie and just put some green over it because he's still rocking the Michigan gear.
Because we've seen at least a couple pictures of him still in Michigan gear in Charlotte.
Have we considered that this tie is the dress?
Oh God damn it! Now I can't. Yeah, now it's just blue.
It's blue and white or whatever. No, I don't.
I don't think he's a big tie guy.
Oh, you think? I think the most time I've seen him
Yeah.
has been in shorts and a cutoff T-shirt too. So
Yeah, he's not a big sleeve guy. And typically, if this is too restrictive, then generally ties are. You know what he ought to do? He ought to pivot to like bolo ties.
Oh God,
Ooh.
yes.
Just be a complete fashion pioneer, which I understand doesn't really fit with Charlotte, where everyone works for BOFA and has to dress exactly the same. But if you're going to lean into being a weirdo,
I mean, it looks green in this picture that I just
okay,
threw in the chat
I
there.
see it. I see it.
I'll give you
now.
that. And then on our Sickos Discord there in our podcast stream, which it looks green there. He's got a cigar,
A giant cigar. God,
giant cigar.
go for it.
I love
man.
how his pocket square just doesn't match anything.
And
No.
it doesn't match a thing.
I hope this is his only suit.
Can we
Please
treat
let
him
this
at the
be his
menswear
only
guy?
suit.
I just had that same thought. That'd be a good EP story. See if I get the menswear guy to critique coach jackets.
Oh, I would enjoy that so much.
I'll have to send it a DM. We were actually going to do this at Vox with Racked back when Racked still existed.
Oh yeah.
To break down Jay Wright and Bob Huggins like sideline fashion until somebody at Vox higher up was like, why are you talking to the unwashed sports pros? And I got squished, but
There are layers here.
about it. Yeah.
Other bit of fun news is that we have a new rivalry trophy, the Schnellenberger Trophy. Miami and Louisville are playing for a set of boots. I really think we should broaden this out. He did coach at Oklahoma for 95, no matter what Oklahoma fans will say that happened there.
Yeah,
Every Oklahoma fan our mentions like it never happened. It was part of the
never
dark
happened.
years.
I'm sorry.
It was the dark decade. I don't know what happened there. And then you have to get FAU in this too, because as we covered before on here, he was the genesis of the FAU program. It was there, he was the person that created the program, and then he was the person he chose to hire to coach the program. This should be a four-way trophy. But have Miami and Louisville having a trophy is funny anyways, but new trophies are always great, so I can't say anything.
What is Miami going to do with a pair of boots?
Wear them with cutoffs.
Why is this not a pipe?
And a giant mustache, yes.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like the boots are great, but the iconic Schnelly image is the pipe, and that was the thoroughfare through all of his coaching gigs. I think he even had it when he was at Alabama. Like that would have been a delight. I mean, I recognize that a giant bronze pipe is maybe too Big Ten for the ACC. Like that sounds like some bullshit. They're like, no, Purdue and Michigan State have been playing for the beat up pipe since 1807.
Start claiming that.
Yeah, but the boots are fine.
They're very shiny.
I had to look at 1995 Oklahoma, and I'm looking at it. They finished 5-5-1.
Yeah, it wasn't a great year.
And I was like, okay, that's not bad on its face. But they tied Texas. They lost to Kansas 38-17. Then the last three games of the year, they lost to K-State 49-10. They lost to Oklahoma State 12-0.
Can't do that at all. No.
And then they lost to number one Nebraska 37-0.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's why he was going after that.
Well, he also came in, if I remember correctly, his thing was that he came in and was like, either tradition doesn't matter here, but you all aren't worthy of this tradition. Like, he really tried to rock the boat hard, and it fell so flat in Oklahoma. Lastly, the only other interesting really news thing we have is that Jim Harbaugh has negotiated his resolution to his cheeseburger issue and is going to be banned from coaching for 4 games, 4 very intense games, which includes, I believe, East Carolina, Bowling Green, Rutgers, and what was the 4th game?
The first game is Bowling Green, Rutgers. Oh man, it's nobody good.
Oh, UNLV. My bad. So it's
Yeah,
East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, and Rutgers.
Yes, tough games.
Yeah, I'm really sure that they're going to miss his leadership on the sideline for those 4 games.
Point of order. The ECU game is September 2nd on Peacock. I think we all remember what happened the last time Michigan was making a debut on a channel that not everybody gets.
Against a school from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Against the regional North Carolina school.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine such a thing?
Mm-hmm.
I tweeted about this, and I'm dead serious. In the unlikely event that ECU pulls this game off, and I think it's going to be the only one of these 4 games where the line is going to be under 30 points.
Yeah.
UNLV and Bowling Green are going to suck. I will pull in every professional favor I possibly have to get ECU football a burger-related NIL deal, because that's why Harbaugh was suspended for lying about burgers. So if I got to call in every agent, every NIL consultant, everything I possibly can and say, listen, this is not for my own personal benefit, but cookout, we need to get that cookout money
Mhm.
for
See,
breakfast for
you know,
our boys in Greenville. Like I will find a way to make it happen.
there's at
It's-
least 3 locations of cookout in Greenville, North Carolina. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
we will help you out too if that happens.
There's one right down on Greenville Boulevard,
That's it.
half a mile from campus. Like we could make this happen. I mean, it should happen anyway because I want people to get money, but it'd be very funny if they beat Michigan.
The Harburger. We just call it that,
Someone in our mention suggested that they basically flip a coin before every game until they get 4 heads to decide the 4 games he's not going to coach at. Like randomize those 4 games throughout the season. Don't let him pick and choose. And that right there, I love that idea. Don't just let it go like first 4 games. Oh no, the first 4 games, that's gonna suck. No. Let's do this randomly because then it's an actual punishment. It might hurt a little bit.
I mean, guys, he lied about ordering 2 hamburgers for breakfast with a recruit. Like it's as much as I would love to channel every bit of hatery.
Yeah, come on, get your Ohio State energy in there.
Look, I'm here to dunk on John U. Bacon for casting this guy as a paragon of truth, justice, and the American way, and now he's being hauled off to NCAA jail as the lawless felon that he is. Guy, I mean, the funny thing about this is that this man had 2 hamburgers for breakfast. Like that's
sure.
That's what we need to keep beating into people's skulls. I don't care that he lied about feeding a recruit and paying with his own money. Like that's not even a funny crime. The crime is what he did to breakfast.
As someone who often goes to Whataburger breakfast that goes from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m., I appreciate the fact that I can get a burger at 6 a.m. if I want to. So me and John Harbaugh, we're not John, good God, Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, John too, the whole family.
John definitely does this too.
Oh, yeah.
And let's throw Tom Crean in there. I bet all 3 of them are
Oh,
getting up at 5:30 in the
I
morning.
wonder what Tom Crean does. He's a weird.
I mean, Tom
cares.
Crean had some really, really passionate opinions about the Mexi Melt, and the Sickos Committee basketball account. It just says like he tweeted at like 12:30 a.m. in the morning. He's talking about the Mexi Melt, and so he quote tweeted it. I was like, nobody but Tom Crean is tweeting about missing the Mexi Melt at 12:30 a.m. in the morning.
Oh no, there are a lot of people who are tweeting about missing the Mexi Melt at 12:30 a.m. They are just all in college.
Yeah, high as shit.
Yep. And you've got to understand that these are coaches who absolutely have a ranking of every public bathroom in every town that they have ever been in, and they have that ranking for reasons.
I should foil with that.
Please do.
Okay, put this on the Trello board. FOIA bathroom rankings. I
wonder if you could get like internal emails.
If I sent that to 70 schools, the odds of somebody actually sending me a responsive document.
Yep.
High.
That'd be great. Just like, hey, we're coming into Boone, North Carolina. Avoid this gas station at all costs.
We are not going to that Flying J. That's the bad Flying J.
That is the bad Flying J.
No. Speaking of which, I will tell you before I head off here, I did file a request recently for the copies of each school's specific urination chart. Like, do you guys remember?
Yes.
Yes, we love those.
Of course, right? So for those that are not familiar, there was a famous graphic for Texas when Tom Herman was there about the color chart for your urine, right? And if I believe the worst case would be you're a bad guy.
You're a bad teammate.
You're a bad teammate. You're a selfish teammate. But there was a similar version, I believe, at UTSA where you would either be juiceful or useful,
yes,
or juiceless and useless, which is the terminology that we use in my household, talking to my children if they are not hydrated enough. I'm like, sweetheart, you're juiceless and useless. Or flush was clearly juiceless and useless, right? And then the Tulane one is just as hydrate or die. And there's no graphics. I'm like, all right, I got 3 of these weirdos. That means there's got to be 10 other ones here. The public needs to know. Yeah. So if you are a operations staffer at a university and you know your PIS graphic, our tips line for Extra Points is compliance@extrapointsnb.com. please send that to me because it might be faster in your open records department. And support clerk is just like, what is this shithead doing here? I went to law school. Why do I have to do this? I'm like, for the internet.
The internet.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Thanks for letting us know
Friends,
about your game and everything. And
it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. I hope you all enjoy it. If you are not reading Extra Points, by all means, I think the free edition is something that you would probably all be interested in. And thanks for supporting what I do.
thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Good night.
See you, Matt.
See you, Matt.
Of the things we're going to plug tonight, join the
Mods asleep. Let's do ads.
Join the Sickos Community Patreon and Discord for $5 a month. You get fun things like being able to yell at us in person in real time for our bad opinions.
Yes.
You also get to see the pictures we post during podcasts, which make absolutely no sense. And
You get to make plans with PittGirl and I to visit abandoned turnpike tunnels.
True facts.
Well,
facts. We also have Commish's Corner. The first episode is up. The second episode will be recorded tonight, I believe. So I'll cut
think
that
so.
and post it on Friday.
yeah.
Beth and I eventually are going to put up our first episode of, I don't know what we're going to call it yet, reviewing fight songs. I think we're starting with Notre Dame, so that should be fun.
Fight Song or Die.
Fight song or
You
die.
could call it the Band of Brothers. No, that's just not going to work. That's an HBO show.
We'll workshop it.
Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Abandoned.
Abandoned.
Actually. Then we have our merch store, sickos-committee.sellfy.store. We have a live, laugh, yes, ha, 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 yes poster and a bunch of other stuff. I don't know if you guys saw the swimsuit. They have ladies swimsuits now.
For the
Commish,
ladies.
we dropped that in our
I'm gonna
four
go
of us
ahead and
chats.
do it.
Put
Yeah.
that in the four of us chat so they can see it.
Oh, in the 4 chat? Oh,
Yeah,
I was
just
going to put it
drop-
in the full.
Yeah, drop it in the main one. That's fine too.
Okay, I'll put it there, and then I'll put it here. So that's in that one, and then I'll put that
Ladies.
too. Ladies, would you like a one-piece Sickos bikini? Swimsuit. I didn't do the bikini one.
Okay, the
But
faces.
There's a bikini one?
There's a bikini. I didn't do it. So they
The
added
faces
like
here are
30
so
new
good.
products. They added 30 new products, and then like 7 of them are like women's leggings, like a women's, graphic all over swimsuit, bikini. There's so much stuff, and so I did that. Just
That
to see what it
face is
looked like.
just so good.
Where does the print go on the leggings, though? Like, can I get
It's on the
leggings?
side. It's
Oh,
on the
okay,
side.
so
I
I
couldn't
can't get
put-
leggings with Sicko's guy on the ass?
I couldn't put Sicko
wasn't-
on. If I could, I would have put it on the ass and put that shit on the store immediately. But I could not. And they say they're print all over leggings, which is bullshit because I can't put the Sicko's guy on your butt.
So this,
Which is a shame because now we could put hydration chart stuff right across the butt. But,
Yes.
well,
That's right.
Hydrate or die.
the new juicy is hydrated.
The new
Red.
juicy
That's
is
exactly what I was thinking.
Christ.
Juiceless.
Juiceless or
Just
useless?
Juiceless and useless across the ass of Juicy Couture shorts.
I would buy 30 of them and I
So
would
would
wear
I.
them for everything. Hey, PittGirl, you want to wear a white bathing suit?
No.
That also seems like a problem.
White things have this tendency, I don't know if y'all have noticed, to go somewhat see-through
Oh, huh.
when moistened.
Mhm.
Well then. Well, so we have new options now.
We'll save that for the Sickos Committee OnlyFans.
Sick OnlyFans.
Also, shout out to Message Board Geniuses podcast. They go to the crazy places we refuse to until we get PittGirl an account so she can read Pit Crazies.
I think I'm just going to buy you a subscription to BGN and that's it. We'll just throw you in as a sleeper cell on the West Virginia boards.
That could be fun. That might actually be fun.
I'm not going back on there.
As
We
well,
d-
you should not.
Today we have a Clemson person on the Clemson board saying, why do coaches always say the players had a good summer? Everyone gets a trophy these days. I need my coach to say, right now we've got a soft team. They don't know what hard work is. We need more negativity and public shaming.
What's more public shaming from Dabo? Does he understand who his head coach is?
I can't get my head in the mindset of message board people. And maybe that's my problem, or maybe that's a good thing. But I just don't get myself in that mindset where I can be like, I'm going to post this in a place that's semi-public. My shitty opinion is going to go public.
Jordan, you put your shitty
What?
opinions on Twitter all the
God
time.
damn it. Except I feel like my shitty opinions aren't as shitty as these opinions.
They're not.
Oh, good.
Oh wait, hold on. Hold up.
Their shitty opinion doesn't usually have almost 100,000 people that look at it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Oh, no.
these leggings now. I'm loving these leggings. Why are they all white though?
They're all white. I don't know why. It's the only color option.
Because men run this company. I guarantee you, not a woman works for this company high enough up to make these choices.
I mean, like, give me like black leggings with that, but I just don't. So you wanted the sickos guy on the butt. It's a little bit above the butt.
He's pointing at the butt.
It's
That's
pointing-
pretty good.
But he's
The
like,
ones
hey.
on the legs are pointing at the butt. Maybe I can mirror the other one there. I don't know.
Good God.
I'm serious. I'm looking at how much these cost too. I'd have to sell them for like 40, 45 bucks.
No.
Yeah, it's a little steep.
It's a
God.
little
Yeah.
steep. It's not worth it.
We also we worked with our friends over at Transfer Portal and No Context Football for their season preview 2023. For $10, you get the PDF that covers all of FBS football, every team, from the newcomers like Jacksonville State to the people who've been here for a while, like Charlotte. So if you like that, if you want something to hang around, you need something to read, this is the place to go. We have our preview here. Commish did the first couple pages for it. It's wonderful. Then we have our YouTube account. We got videos. Subscribe to it. Maybe one day we'll do a face reveal.
Oh, wait.
That's
that
what
is
the
good.
kids like, right? On YouTube, they like the face reveals.
I'm pleased to inform all of you that I am, in fact, a cartoon of Rosie the Riveter. That's what I look like in real life too.
We need to get what are the things that the kids on YouTube do where they have like an anime character that lays over them as
Oh,
they live stream on Twitch, whatever.
Is it a
yeah.
filter or something?
No, this
Like
is better.
Like the Memoji stuff?
No, this is
It's like
different
that,
and
but
better.
better.
Like like some people's whole personality, like their whole character on Twitch or YouTube is actually an anime character that like follows their motion.
I have a sister who's a Twitch streamer. I should ask her. I don't know anything about this.
Well, I mean, maybe YouTube, you can see that my glorious background view of my closet that I'm recording in. So maybe one day.
We also have on our Substack, the potato chip ratio is almost done, or it's getting approaching done.
Okay, I really went kind of crazy with it today. I'm just gonna be
You
honest. I
did.
don't know.
You did.
I went kind of insane. So I finished all the recruit information, updating 8,903 entries. But the only problem is that the ratio was too low to my liking. And so the towns that I had used for this information, I had to expand the radius. So I just added another 5,000 things to the spreadsheet today. And whenever Kevin stops cussing at me, I'm sure he's not happy that I made him do more spreadsheeting. But he's got everything set up, so he just needs to copy the formulas. But still, this will give us the true ratio, I believe, and we'll go with these numbers, and hopefully they're higher and match what the blue chip ratio is. And that's what I was trying to do, but for a fun, potato chippy style of thing.
And then lastly, if you like things that are wonderful and soft, you want some new shirts for the fall, maybe a new hoodie, make sure you look at Home Field Apparel. This week they have refreshes for Florida State and Georgia Tech. The Florida State refreshes, by the way, very good. Florida State has a lot of great gear, and that really pains me because I'm not a Florida State fan, but it's a lot of good looking stuff. And they have St. John's as their new school with a very angry horse on the shirt, which I love.
It's a good one.
It's going to be the softest stuff you've ever worn. They also have joggers and a bunch of other things for the upcoming fall season. Order now. If it's your first order, use offer code yes, ha 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 yes, 3 ha's for 15% off. If it's not your first order, look for our posts. We have a referral link. If you click on it, we get a little kickback from that, and you get the same awesome stuff as always. Well, folks, are you ready?
You ready for this?
Yes.
We're going to El Paso.
Woo!
And we got
I-
another slide. We not got another slide deck. We are the
We've got a
second ever
slideshow.
podcast with slides.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Let's go. What is this called, Jordan?
Wow, that is a redundant ass logo.
This is the Texas Western College of the University of Texas.
No, what's the segment called, Jordan?
Oh, sorry. This is the segment that's called the best season of all time for teams who are below 500 all time, both Satwa App 500 at. And I'm going to cut in some music here too. We're going to listen to part of the UTEP fight song, which was originally Eyes of Texas,
Ah,
but they changed it. I want to see if you guys know this song. It's a really good fight song, I have to admit. And then we just go back again. You guys know that song?
No, but
No.
it's a vibe.
It sounds familiar, but
what is the song?
again, I am not musically inclined.
I do not know.
That is the song is the full name of the song Out in the West Texas town of El Paso?
On the El Paso? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an old country
did not-
song.
Oh.
I did not recognize that version of it. My mom was very into that whenever I was a wee thing, so I'm used to hearing like dude with guitar.
Yeah, the actual lyrics of the song are Out in the West Texas
West
town of El
Texas,
Paso.
town of El Paso.
And it is a certifiable jam. Apparently they asked the artists to use it, and they did. So we're
Yeah.
talking about the 1956 West Texas Western Miners. First off, got to clarify a few things. They have been known by a bunch of different names. This was Texas School of Mines, Texas College of Mines, Texas Western College, and then in the 60s, they switched to University of Texas at El Paso. But at this point, starting in, I think it was like 52, they became part of the University of Texas officially, because the system wasn't really in place at that point yet. Let's talk about this team. When you think of UTEP, or I'm going to say UTEP, even though it's not proper here. You think of UTEP football, you don't think of like this brilliant history. We do have this kind of glory period here where UTEP football was great. And it also coincides with their time in one of our favorite conferences, the Border Conference. So we get all these little pieces that we love here. This is 56. First off, our coach. This is Mike Brumblow. This was his only head coaching job ever. He coached at UTEP, Texas Western from 50 to 56. He sent them to 3 Sun Bowls, won 2 of them, and had an overall record of 46, 24, and 3. That's all you really need to know about him. He was from Texas, played guard at TCU, was a coach at Georgia Pre-Flight, the Skyhawks, I believe. One of the
Nice.
good pre-flights. Was an Ole Miss assistant, was an SMU scout, and then got the job out in West Texas. Also was the AD there for a bit. Also was the basketball coach at TCU for a while, because why not?
Do it all.
Everywhere.
And he was an assistant coach and the basketball coach at TCU at the same time. Get you a guy who can do both.
The schedule. Well, we've got ourselves a border conference schedule, but there's a little bit of fun here, because if you remember when we talked about the border conference, Texas Tech was in that border conference, but they're a non-conference game here. This was Texas Tech's first year in the Southwest Conference.
Ah,
Okay.
They'd gone independent for a bit and then transitioned from the border conference to the Southwest Conference.
I was hoping that it was going to be a Wake Forest and UNC are playing as a non-conference game because
No,
they
God,
never
that
see
was-
each other
Oh, it's
situation.
so good. So our opponents this year are out of conference. We have Texas Tech, Abilene Christian, New Mexico, North Texas, and Trinity in San Antonio. And then in conference, we have Arizona, New Mexico A&M, which is New Mexico State, Hardin-Simmons, Arizona State, which at this point might have been Arizona Tempe. I can't remember if that was the split yet. And then West Texas State, which is now West Texas A&M. And then they have a bowl game that I'll talk about in a bit. So this year they go 9-1. They win their conference. I'm going to tip my hand for it. They win the border conference. This is the only time they ever won the border conference. In fact, this is their only untied conference win, a conference championship ever.
Hang the banner.
Hang the banner. Oh, they hang this banner.
oh yeah.
So the stadium, the Sun Bowl, right? Nope. Sun Bowl didn't exist yet. This is Kidd Field. Kidd Field was named for one of the early coaches at Texas School of Mines. It is actually still there in the footprint. It is near the Sun Bowl. It's sort of next door to it. As you can tell here, it's still built in the mountains. You got that beautiful like moon landscape. I'm not sure which of these hills is Handjob Hill, but I think it's close by. So I'm not sure exactly which one is the famous hill, but I'm sure we could figure that out with some.
One could get a hand job on several of those hills.
You know, any hill is hand job. No, any hill is hand job hill. Really, if you think about it.
If you try hard and believe in yourself.
Mhm.
I mean, sure.
I still think, I think you can see Juarez from any of these spots too. So then This is the fastest team in Miner history, says the school newspaper. A lot of this stuff is from the school newspaper. Texas Western is so loaded with talent in the backfield that prediction on the starting lineup is foolish. Bob Forrest, twin to end Dick Forrest, is battling with Bob Laraba for the starting quarterback spot, and both are capable. Forrest is one of the finest runners in the Border Conference and has been a starter 2 years at fullback and one of the most determined players at the college. Laraba is a better passer, however, in punt, and was a starter center last year. So we have a starting fullback and a starting center in the QB competition, and they run a 2 QB offense all year. They have a running QB and a passing QB. The passing QB also punts.
Given who they're picking on this, you've got between a fullback and a center, they're gonna need some just like sit on the sidelines and like calm down stuff.
This just a beautiful choice to have to make here. The first game against Texas Tech, sort of opening up their game against Southwest Conference rivals. From the paper, we are the kings of the football world. The impossible has been done. Texas Western's Warriors of the Gridiron have defeated the team they weren't supposed to be able to beat. They've scalped the fledgling of the mighty Southwest Conference. In short, the Miners have beaten the Texas Tech Raiders. What does this mean? Well, besides meaning that we've got a reasonably good chance for a Border Conference championship, beating supposedly mighty Tech makes us one of the choicest morsels on the schedules for every one of our opposition. They'll be aiming for us like we are rated #1 in the nation. Okay, let's calm the fuck down here, Texas Western. Let's calm down here. Okay? Chill
That's
out.
some hype.
Another
I
article.
just love how it's like, yay, we win. We're going to be eaten.
We're gonna kill everybody. They're all
We're the
gonna
most
die.
delicious snack.
Next article. With the help of center-turned-quarterback and a player who cannot play contact ball because of a head injury, their kicker, the TWC Miners pulled an early upset over the Red Raiders of Texas Tech at Tech's home field last Saturday. Both teams were showing their first game jitters, and fumbles on both sides were seen. Backfield men showed a little nervousness at the beginning, but became more sure of themselves later in the game. The loss was quite a shock for the Red Raiders because of their first year in the Southwest Conference. A loss to a Border Conference team is not the best way to start a season in the high-flying conference as the Southwest. With Texas Western knocking off the Red Raiders, what are they going to do against such powers as TCU, SMU, and Texas A&M? Spoiler, they had a really bad year that year. Let me find it. I believe they went 1-9.
Wow.
Sorry, 2-7-1. Not the best year. Their big like put a check on this was that Texas Tech in '56 got palindromed by Hardin Simmons 41-14. Don't let that happen. And the coach after these games said, Brumlow, we are able to overcome many of the mistakes, but one of these days we are going to make mistakes that are going to hurt us. We may lose 2 or 3 games. Thanks for the quote, coach. Next, they play Abilene Christian and win it. They win 20-0 at Abilene, and this was sort of their like getting their feet underneath them game for the year. Intermission 1. First off, the Texas Western band is called the Marching Cavalcade, which is great, but can I talk to you about the drill team, who are the Gold Diggers?
Oh no.
Oh no.
That has not aged well.
No, no.
All of the diggers over there wearing their cowboy hats, and I gotta guess those are bright orange ties or like neckerchiefs.
Oh my god.
The real question that I have here is, what are they wearing on the bottom? Because I can't tell if that's just chaps worn wrong, or if we're wearing kind of like a floor-length loincloth ensemble with very high slits in both legs.
I think they have one leg back. Because at first I thought they had both legs forward and the cloth was just going between both of their legs. But they have like one leg back in this picture. It's really weird.
It is. I feel like it is possible that this is incorrectly worn chaps, or pants inspired by chaps.
All I know is that the article calls them gay uniforms.
Yes, the gaily colored uniforms.
The band is gaily colored. Gave a salute to the class of 1960 by forming a fish.
Sure.
It's like they welcome the freshman class by forming fish.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's cute.
Sure, that'll work. I really love that this is what Kanye West was talking about.
I don't want no gold diggers.
He's not a
UTEP
fan.
With no broke.
Broke.
The Kids Bob version.
Yes, Kids
Wow.
Bob's back.
Intermission part 2. The PKT, which is Phi Kappa, I think Phi Kappa Tau, finally retrieved the Miners' victory bell. So they have a bell that they would ring in the student section at the end of the field when the team scored. The victory bell from Kid Field has finally been returned to its rightful home at TWC. The appearance of the bell last Saturday night brought loud cheers from the student section, who sadly recalled its theft last February. This was September. The rumor at the time was that our rivals from A&M had absconded with it after the Minor Aggie game. The meek, mild, and indifferent corpse of the TWC student spirit arose in the Phi Kappa Tau Lodge when they learned through their chapter at A&M, Beta Alpha, that the bell was in fact in the hands of the infidel Aggies. The bell was liberated under the direction of Fred Seeley, a pledge master, and will be reinstalled in its true resting place at the end of Kid Field before the A&M football game this Saturday. It is alleged that the responsibility for ensuring that the bell remains at TWC will be assumed by PKT. This was also at the height of some very big vandalism and like prank wars between New Mexico A&M and Texas Western. Also, I threw the picture of the drum majorette Sue Dickinson because it apparently had appeared in her local newspaper, and the prospector was like, "We should put it here too."
She looks like she belongs on the side of a World War II bomber. It's fabulous.
She's doing a little bit of boobs and butt pose too.
Yes.
So like, props to her spine.
Yeah, not quite an Escher girl, but getting there.
Intermission 1 over. We go to we play New Mexico at home. Texas Western overcame first half jitters to easily romp over the New Mexico University Lobos 34-0. Jim Bever and Rusty Rutledge, great name, led the second half rush, during which they netted 27 points. The Beavers pushed the Miners into the lead in the first half when the first quarter he sprinted through the left side of the Lobo line and outraced the last man between him and the goal, a play that covered 58 yards. Rutledge, although not scoring, set up 3 by his bulldogging tactics through the New Mexico line. Texas Western lost the ball 3 times in the first half on fumbles and had 2 of their aerials picked off by the Lobo defense. That's 5 turnovers in the first fucking half. This is something that comes up many times this year. They were as good as they were. They had 5 turnovers in the first half and still won the game 34-0. In fact, apparently the only time the Lobos came close was they were playing against Texas Western's third string. In the next article, Texas Western still hasn't solved the quarterback problem. Who is QB1? Bob Forrest has been overshadowed by passing department by Bob Laraba. Laraba hit 5 of 11 tosses last Saturday to give the hint this form of attack.
I really love that they have a battle of the Bobs at the quarterback.
Yeah, Bob
position.
Forrest and Bob Laraba.
Bob. Well, I mean, the other guy has like 2 Bobs in his last name, so it works out.
Can we take a moment to appreciate the jewelry advertisement that is in here?
Say it.
How often do you see Shane's Fine Jewelry, the jewelry headquarters for TWC students, in front of post office? How often do we see fine jewelry marketed to college students?
Mm-hmm. That's how you know it was fine.
Hey, man, they had gold diggers there, so.
This is just Texas Claire's.
That's right.
Then they play Arizona in a conference game. Again, in your head, get to the idea that Texas Western and Arizona were in a conference together. Texas Western wins this 28-6. Only minutes remained in the game when temperatures came to a height as the two teams figured to be in the thick of the conference race, squared off in hand-to-hand combat. Players rushed from both benches when the flare-up broke out.
Fisticuffs.
We scrapping.
They actually. This was probably like a legit fight. It wasn't like one of those that were broken.
Oh no, there's no way this was just like fun pushing or whatever. This was absolutely just like a complete beatdown. I guarantee it.
Big dumb rock fight.
You know how we talk about if you're having a bad season, you need a get right game?
Mm-hmm.
And I think for one team we've covered already, it was North Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Go to North Texas, get right game. Turns out if you're having a good season, you go to Denton, it's where it goes to die. Because they lose to North Texas.
No.
Caw-caw.
An unbeaten team, an unbeaten Miners team goes to North Texas and loses 13-6.
I feel like that's the thing. Like the Western, like UTEP had an issue with it, and like they lost here. But like 1982, New Mexico should have beat North Texas easily, but they barely survived that. So, you know, maybe that's the you want to avoid North Texas when you're having a good season. If you're having a bad season, North Texas will help you get better. So
also, these are the North Texas Eagles, not the Mean Green. We are pre-Mean Green here.
Oh.
Caw-caw.
A sigh of anguish could be heard around campus last weekend as the mighty Miners were rolled out of the undefeated ranks by underdog North Texas State 13-6. The Eagles had everything their way in winning the big one from TWC. They showed a homecoming crowd to some real football and stomped on the winning streak of 4 games for the Miners. Maybe this defeat will help the Miners in their second half of the season. A little confidence can't hurt any team when they can't see beyond it. The remaining games on the Miners schedule will be the remaining games for the Miners will be no easy schedule.
What's a sigh of anguish? Is that like the Charlie Brown arg?
I'm imagining the comic strip Kathy right now, and the ack. That's it right there.
Also, we have some injuries here. We've got their running back has an injury, and then a starting lineman also has an injury here.
Re-injured an old knee wound?
Yes.
Did he take an arrow to the knee?
I don't
What's
know,
going
man.
on with knee
I mean,
wounds?
this is 56. It might have been in World War II.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, who
Hmm.
knows? Honestly,
I have a 36-year-old lineman who has returned from the war.
Wouldn't surprise me at this point.
I mean, like Wyoming had like that 30-year-old man, right?
Mhm.
Boom boom. In
Intermission
1950.
2. Headline.
What?
4 miners arrested for dynamiting.
Yes!
Big crimes.
They have a tradition called M Day. There's a big M on the mountain that they paint, they whitewash. The freshmen do it in tradition. And there was a lot of talk in the newspaper about how they're going to cancel this because no one shows up to things. Hey, another theme again. Freshmen just don't fucking show up to things. They're lame. They don't go to the dances. They don't do the traditions. They suck. And then these 4 gentlemen decide to do the tradition, which is starting M Day with dynamite. They were arrested for this. Lots of letters to the editor being like, these poor boys are just doing tradition. I don't know what's going on here. The president of the college said dynamiting is a tradition that has outworn its usefulness as tradition. Lame.
What was the useful period of this tradition?
I don't know.
I mean, there's probably nothing much going on in El Paso out there, so let's blow some shit up. So,
I mean,
why not?
they're a school of mines. They're applying practical skills they learned in class, just as Blaster the Burrow is applying practical skills he learned at Colorado School of Mines.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
2 other little articles to read here. TWC student is paid to make noise. Only one student, Texas Western, has permission to make a big noise on campus. This student is Ben Lucas, majoring in electrical engineering, who is the man behind the match when the fireworks go off at home football games.
Point of order, are the band folks, are the band director, for example, is the band director not paid to make noise?
I guess so. But apparently he arranges his halftime show with the band director in the music department.
Oh.
I want to see what kind of synchronicity we can have between fucking 1956 fireworks with some dude with a match, literally.
I mean, I think it's got to be pretty good because, I mean, UTEP is adept at blowing shit up. So, they have a day where it's...
How long have we been doing the 1812 Overture in sync with cannons and shit? It can't be that hard.
That is true. That is true.
Right. That's right.
So here's my question. We have a student who is running a fireworks display.
Oh, yeah.
Some school was the last one to have a student set off their fireworks display. And I want to know who that school was.
Arizona State.
This guy definitely made the fireworks too, right? He
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
made the fireworks.
Absolutely. It was like I got black powder from out in the mining lab and
Other one is the Minor Aggie Board to Punish Vandals. The 2 schools created a joint board to punish wrongdoers who vandalized the schools. The board is a result, Dean Youth has said, of heavy damage done in the past prior to athletic contests between the 2 schools. Aggie students have poured salt in the kid field grass and the lawn near the Student Union building to form a huge A's. Texas Western students visited the campus of Las Cruces School and tampered with a cattle breeding experiment.
whoa.
What did they do to the cows?
Dean Youthis added, in a humorous vein, that he understands one of the A&M students on the disciplinary board was in charge of the breeding experiment, which the pranksters rudely interrupted. Go for it, guys. Go ahead.
I was
Talk about
going to
what
make
you
a joke about salting the earth, but man.
I mean, I don't have much to say here. I'm kind of at a loss for words. I gotta read it again.
This is a really high stakes prank, depending on when in the process you choose to interrupt the experiment.
Yep. I'm just
Like,
I'm
if we're
picturing
just shutting the chute, then okay, that's one thing. But if you're in there and like you've decided to interrupt proceedings,
bring fireworks, bring dynamite. They're just the fun pranks we have, guys. Commish's
Okay.
faces. Commish's
I
faces.
mean,
just really
again, I'm trying to imagine like how are they interrupted. I mean, is it fireworks? Have we confirmed that? I mean,
Oh, I don't know.
I'm
There's
assuming because
nothing else
UTEP
about
just wants to
this.
blow shit
No.
up.
did you bring in a third participant?
Another very angry bull.
Did somebody just run out to be a rodeo clown? I mean, what's going on here? I mean,
This
This
feels like
this
a
school
deliberate
newspaper was
omission.
wild.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
This also presupposes that you're actually using live breeding, which most cattle breeding experiments don't.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
usually you're just in the middle of like electrode semen collection to go in the old sperm tank.
Mm-hmm.
I see why UTEP and New Mexico State don't like each other. I'm just gonna say this.
Yeah.
I really do, and I am excited for the 100th meeting of UTEP and New Mexico State because this is
I want to know the student who had his cattle breeding experiment that fucked up so badly and so pissed off that he marches into the president's office demanding a joint discipline board between the two schools to stop this.
my God.
So their next game was against New Mexico A&M, and they fucking bodied them 51-17. This was in Las Cruces, which they call State College. I don't know if that was the name of the city or the part of the city where Las Cruces is, but they call it State College several times.
That's weird. I don't like it.
Yep.
That's weird.
Well,
first
I mean, they called it State College, and then it eventually became New Mexico State.
First half was kind of rough, but in the second half, it took three plays in a minute and 22 seconds to pick up their first score, where Jimmy Bevers, with his knee injury, came through it and ran into the end zone.
Can we just have a moment of appreciating the combo of this headline and this byline?
Yes.
Yeah. It's great.
Yes. The headline is Forrest Paces Minor Win by Forrest Pacer.
Did the Onion write this?
Also, I threw this picture in here just kind of like the borough, but this is from 66. But apparently the predecessor to this borough, this is Henry, the president of the college called the predecessor a sorry-looking pot-bellied creature not suited to represent the minors.
Oh,
Oh,
So they had to get a new one.
I bet he was cute. Be kind to the borough.
I mean,
Next.
I got to give it up for Forrest Pacer. Like, he probably saw that he probably knew this was the only opportunity to ever do that,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and then he took it, and I applaud him for that.
So we have a big win over Hardin Simmons for homecoming, 51-13. This gives Texas Western full control over the board. 51-30. My bad. It's 51-13 in the article, which is what got me.
Which one was real?
The previous game was also way wrong.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
Hold up. We got
Math is hard.
I don't know. You know, Forrest is messing up here. I don't know if it's Forrest again, but
okay. Like this newspaper was so 51-13 is correct. Is the correct score.
okay.
Okay.
But
In
the
the previous
headline
one,
is
was
wrong.
it 17 or 7?
Previous one is 51-7.
51-7.
Okay.
So that was wrong
Okay,
too.
so the headline was wrong again, but the article was right.
Okay, so their headline editor was shit. Got it.
Their headline editor sucks. All right. Perfect.
Unless he's making puns on his own name. Got it.
So what this does is it lays the stage for basically the game again in Tempe against Arizona State is going to basically decide how this conference goes. And they have to go to Tempe. They decide they're not going to take a bus because not enough people fucking cheer for this team.
Take a burrow.
So everyone had to get in their cars and go. Also, PittGirl saw this earlier too when I was posting, but the society page of this newspaper was amazing because it just talked about who was dating. Who was at football games and someone went to Abilene and didn't come back with their fraternity pin. Wonder what happened.
Oh
Also, someone was talking. One of the gentlemen was talking to a treacherous gentleman was talking to a lady in Albuquerque,
Ooh.
a blonde.
Pearls.
Yes.
Additional evidence for our theory that newspapers are just Facebook before Facebook.
So they play Arizona State and they win it 28-0
Oh, look, they got the score right.
in front of a capacity of 16,300 out in Tempe. And when they came back home on the plane, the whole crowd was there at 2 a.m. to cheer for them.
Aw.
my.
With several thousand students. They had signs. You can see a little bit of the plane in the back, that middle picture.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the biggest thing, the next game is going to be the first time that UTEP is on TV.
Can I just say that Miners Welcome is a disturbing sign?
Yes.
This is a variant of Farmers Only.
Well,
That
so
was New Mexico State, but okay.
So this is actually the time when the nickname stuck, because for the decade before this, they were known as the Miners, the Muckers, and the Ore Diggers. So this next game against West Texas State College will be on TV. However, El Pasoans will not be able to pick up the game because of the distance. West Texas State officials that the telecast will reach 150 miles in flat plains country, but only a television freak would allow El Paso to pick it up. I don't know what that means.
I think he may be referring to like atmospheric skip, which happens sometimes where like if you still listen to FM radio every once in a while, if the conditions are right, you can get radio stations that are like way further away from you than you should be able to
That's
hear.
AM though. Right? It's AM. Yeah.
It happens with FM radio
Which is-
sometimes too. Yeah.
I know for AM, like you can get stuff from like halfway across the fucking country at night.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's how AM works. That's also why AM sounds like shit.
Gotcha.
FM sounds better, but the range is shorter.
Yep. This is why my very Pittsburgh dad grew up as an Atlanta Hawks fan. Because it was what you could get. So yeah, get out the tinfoil and put it on those rabbit ears.
That's a 400-mile drive between West Texas A&M, which is in Canyon, Texas,
Hell yeah, Canyon.
is-
Went to band camp there.
which is basically just south of Amarillo and really, really, really far from El Paso, which El Paso, again, far from everything. So in between Lubbock and Amarillo is West Texas A&M.
The Miners sweep past the Buff 16-13. That headline is way more confident than the game it is. Because 16-13, TWC looked like anything but the Border Conference champs in the first half, fumbling, punting against the wind for a yard, throwing in desperation passes which were intercepted, and playing all-around spotty game.
Oh, this sounds like our kind of game.
But the second half saw the Miners come roaring back under the leadership of Bob Forrest's passing and running.
Oh,
Bob Forrest is passing now.
Bob is back. The other Bob.
Included in this series was an impromptu run by Charlie Ward, who had to run instead of kicking when the wind blasted the ball from the kicking position. He grabbed the ball running and took out on the right sideline to set the ball up for a tying touchdown.
Of running. This is like a Christmas Carol or something like that.
This kick was scored in the last 3 seconds of the game. So what are our bowl options here? We are talking about the Sun Bowl and maybe an outside shot at the Gator Bowl. The Sun Bowl is the traditional Border Conference home game. The Gator Bowl had apparently looked at them earlier on in the season too. Last game of the season against Trinity. Trinity was supposed to be pretty good. Nope. TW Miners dig Tiger's grave 54-0.
Oof.
Yeah, that's rough.
And they get invited to the Sun Bowl. Who are they going to face in the Sun Bowl? The George Washington Colonials, ranked 17th in the nation in the AP poll. The first ranked team to ever play in a Sun Bowl.
Is this when my dad was there? No, it wasn't.
And then we have coaching rumors. It was rumored that head coach Mike Bumblow of UTEP might be on his way to Texas University after his showing with Western this year, and what with Ed Price resigning. But written accounts quoted from him said he was very happy with the setup at Western and will stay with Western as long as he can keep them winning. He resigned after this season.
Well, that was as long as he could keep them winning.
The Texas he retired technically. The Texas University job seems like it's going to Bobby Dodd, head coach at Georgia Tech this year and one of the nation's real smart coaches. Turns out that hire actually went to Darrell K. Royal,
Wow.
who was the head coach of the Edmonton Canadian football team for 1 year in the 50s. I did not know that. So the bowl game versus George Washington. It did not go well. This is one of those we're going to have to end the year on a downer, guys. First off, we have this team coming from out east. Everyone thought that this was going to be like a cakewalk. Turns out this was not a cakewalk. This team was 17th in the country, did not win the Southern Conference, but actually came in second to West Virginia in the SoCon. Their only loss was to West Virginia at Mountaineer Field, 4-0, but beat up basically everyone else on their schedule except for a tie with Boston University. And this game was kind of a mess. I want you guys to look at interceptions and fumbles lost over in the Texas Western column and count those up for me real fast.
Oof.
Ouch.
Oh,
Can't have
that's
six-
not what you want.
Can't have 6 turnovers, guys.
Mm.
Can't have 6 turnovers. The passing attack was dead in the water. Texas Western passes for 22 yards.
That's not enough.
And
That's
they
not
threw
enough at
3
all.
interceptions.
And threw 3 interceptions on those 22 yards.
Jeez. Yikes.
7 yards per interception.
This was so bad that after the break, the UTEP paper did not even cover this game.
Keep in mind that the combined passing yards between G-Dub and Texas Western in this did not break 100 yards.
I had to get this article from the GW newspaper, The Hatchet. GW surprises Miners in Sun Bowl. Quote, weak Colonials cop 13-0 victory.
Woo.
George Washington University would not have a football team in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
This was their one and only bowl game they ever played in. And they won it. So Good.
Can we take a second to appreciate the program? Because I really like the program.
It's great. It looks like the outside of the fucking, it's a small world.
It kind of feels like the LG logo.
And also, this was the 22nd Sun Bowl. So again, listeners, if you ever think about, the Peach Bowl is this ancient bowl game, fuckers, the Sun Bowl has been there for so long.
The Sun Bowl is legitimately the second oldest bowl game. It is very, very, very old. Respect the Sun Bowl.
That's why CBS pays big money every year to air it. To watch a 6-6 ACC team lose to a 7-5 Pac-12 team.
It's tradition, and you'll like it.
Hey! Last year was very respectable. You had 9-3 versus 9-3 or something.
Yeah, it was
UCLA and Pitt,
and it was a banger.
It was a great game. But I love that the Sun Bowl always has some insane weather aspect to it, and the one that happened just last year, or earlier this year, or was it 2020? I don't even know what day it was.
It was still 2022. It was December 31st.
Last year counts, whatever.
Or 30th.
But the winds were like gusts of like 25-mile-an-hour winds. And I love the game-winning field goal for Pitt, which I know PittGirl loves that. But as soon as it gets through the uprights, it just takes a hook. Like, just right, as soon as the wind just goes,
it also started raining in the middle of that game, and there was a rainbow. They showed it on the broadcast.
I remember that. That was great.
Yes. El Paso is, I think, I don't know who said it, but as close to an alien landscape on Earth as you can find.
So let's break down the season. Postmortem. They lost 2 games, one in North Texas and one in the bowl game. None of those were conference games. They were perfect in conference. Some stats. Bob Laraba, he led the Miners in offensive department by rolling up a total of 1,174 yards. Jimmy Bevers, who was their running back, followed the total offense of 726 yards. In scoring, Bevers scored 9 touchdowns for a total of 56 points. Laraba was second with 5 touchdowns and 4 extra points because he was their kicker too. Hugh Harmon scored 3 TDs for 30 points. 3 of Hugh's touchdowns came on long punt returns. Charlie Ward was the Miners' big punter, and he booted 20, good for 790 yards and an average of 39.5 average per kick. Bob Laraba kicked 22 for 691 yards and good for a 36.8 average. Remember, Charlie Ward also took the head injury and could not play contact football for a while as well. In rushing, quarterback Bob Forrest led the team with 70 tries, good for 484 yards and an average of 6.9 per carry. Jimmy Bevers was second in this department with a total of 606 yards and 98 carries, which gave him a 6.2 average. Now I'm going to talk to you about Laraba's amazing passing numbers. Okay, this was their passing giant. He threw 26 for 75.
I'm just remembering we did Mississippi Valley State. He threw for 75 in a game. In what game?
26 for 75 over the season for a total of 568 yards. This was 21.8 yards per throw, which is very good for any quarterback. That's in the article.
Bombs only.
That's it.
Bombs only.
Bob Forrest went 11 for 25 for the season, good for 242 yards and 2 touchdowns. After reading these facts, the Miners really impressed people on paper as well as on the gridiron. Other totals, by the way, total for the season was 2,700 yards of rushing and 868 of passing passing for a ground total of 3,968. This gave them an average of 356.8 yards per game. This was the high watermark for UTEP football. And after that, it was sort of it went downhill from there. But this team was hella fun. 2 quarterbacks playing on the fucking surface of the moon, won the border conference, what more do you want? Their coach ended up being one of the people that was involved. He was athletic director for 2 more years, and then he was one of the people involved trying to get the money raised to build the actual Sun Bowl. Lived in El Paso for a long time. Was part of the community there for the rest of his life. So, what more do you want from one of these stories? A bowl win. You'd probably want a bowl win to like cap the story off.
I would think so. I was,
This year, UTEP. This year.
I mean, their last bowl win was what, 1967, I believe.
Everybody hastily Googles UTEP football.
I
autofill, baby. Autofill.
I would be willing to bet that there's not another podcast in existence that Googles UTEP football as much as we do.
I can almost guarantee that. Yeah, I will say that. Yeah, 1967. Bobby Dobbs, Sun Bowl. They beat Ole Miss 14-7 in 1967.
Again, another CFL fucking connection. Bobby Dobbs was the head coach at Tulsa, then the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders, and then the head coach at UTEP.
From Calgary to El Paso. Gotta love it.
He's from Monday, Texas. So he's from out there. Sorry, Mundy. My bad. I pronounced that.
I do like the idea of a town called Monday. I bet there's one of those in Pennsylvania.
Oh, there would almost have to. There's a Mundy's Corner. I know that.
No, like Monday, like the day of the week.
That's the problem is with Pennsylvania. We can't pronounce the word D-A-Y properly. We got
True.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
That's true. We
Like
do
that.
not have a Monday based off of hasty Googling.
I forgot that Mike Price went to UTEP after the Alabama fiasco.
Yes, he wound up in UTEP. And you could hide in El Paso back in those days.
By back in those days, you mean 05 to 12.
Again, there was not, readily available high-speed internet. Cable modems were still kind of expensive. I would say that.
Yeah, Jordan, I would like you to take a moment and do the math about how long ago 2005 was.
No, I refuse that.
That's right.
I refuse to do that math.
2005 can vote now. How about that?
Yeah, 2005 is a legal adult.
Yes, they can vote now.
I'm gonna just.
I've grown accustomed to that, but really, El Paso, UTEP needs to get a bowl victory, and of course we're going to be rooting for that. They haven't won one since 1967, and their only bowl game that they've ever won is the Sun Bowl. They've won it 5 times.
Yeah, they have.
But unfortunately not 1956.
UTEP to the Bahamas Bowl.
Yes.
That would be a lot of fun.
It's the get right.
Well, that's possible because that's CUSA, isn't it?
Yeah, they're Conference USA.
Doesn't Mitzi go to that one every once in a while?
Yeah, Mitsu. So it's Conference USA versus MAC, I think, is Bahamas Bowl.
Okay, then this is totally doable. This is our 6-6 bowl game.
Oh yes.
Yeah. UTEP,
or New Mexico State out there.
To the Bahamas, yeah, that'd be great. Get these folks that are way out there, just going from the mountain time zone all the way to the Bahamas, which UTEP could go for their second win in the Eastern time zone all time.
You're not going to be able to bring chilies with you. I'm
Are the
sorry.
Bahamas in Eastern time or are they ahead of that?
I think the Bahamas maybe an hour ahead.
Bahamas
Maybe?
time zone.
Bahamas time zone.
Yep, 11:50. They are Eastern.
Perfect.
There we go.
Perfect. There you go. You get a win, another bowl win in a different country. Go right ahead.
Okay, folks. Good.
It's like the anti-Northwestern.
Okay, folks. That's all we got for tonight. We'll see you on the other side.